At BIE, we have a vision that all students, regardless of where they live or what their backgrounds, have the opportunity to do high-quality project-based learning so that they can get the skills they need for success in college and career and life. And we believe that project-based learning not only teaches academics and knowledge, which it does quite well, but it also gives key understandings and teaches the success skills that are going to prepare kids for their future. But even more than that, we believe that it can be transformational and that you're different and you see yourself different when you participate in a high-quality project. We also believe that project-based learning is as good for teachers as it is for kids. And through project-based learning, teachers and school leaders remember why they got into education and feel that joy of teaching and learning. And our mission, and this is what PBL World's all about, is that we build the capacity for teachers to facilitate and design high-quality project-based learning, and we build the capacity for school leaders and district leaders to set the conditions in place so that teachers can do great projects with kids. So that's who we are and what we're about. We're super excited to be here today. We have, last year, we had about 450 people at PBL World. And this year, we have over 825 people. Over 300 people wanted to come and got on a wait list and couldn't, we just didn't have enough space or capacity. So it just gives you a sense, and there's probably way more. So you have a very valuable ticket to be here today. We have 38 states here, and including Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. And we have 26 international participants. We have people here from China, Mexico, Australia, Canada, Bahrain, Brazil, Chile, Denmark, Hong Kong, Kuwait, Morocco, Pakistan, and Panama. Look. My wife always gives me a hard time. She says, "Why do you call it PBL World?" That's why we call it PBL World. It really is. It's a project-based world, and we have people from all over the world here. This is a world movement. Raise your hand if you've been at PBL World before. Excellent. Well, hopefully you will get everything that you had before and more. So we're mixing it up a little bit, and today is a good example. And we're so excited. We put the community practice day in, and we said, well, there's 825 people, but we don't think everybody's going to show up the first day. We think everybody showed up the first day, which is awesome. And so we wanted to have this day to kick it off, to give you, before you go into the deep work of doing your work together and learning about PBL, to get inspired by folks who have been doing it and by ideas in the community and our community partners. And so today is really to give you some inspiration, ideas that you can take and implement in your project-based learning. And then we're going to have a reception too. We wanted to make sure we can feel that enthusiasm. We have so many people, we can't all fit in this theater, so we want to have some place where we're all together. So hopefully you'll be able to enjoy that from 4 to 6 today and celebrate project-based learning together. We have our district partnerships here, district partners. There's a summit. Representatives from over 20 school districts are here to learn and reflect together about their journey in implementing systemic PBL systemically. And then on Thursday, we're going to flip things up, and usually we have the keynote in the morning, but we're going to actually bring everybody together for our PBL Hero Award and to give it to Stephen Ritz. And if you haven't heard Stephen Ritz, You got to come. He's going to fire you up. And if you've heard him, he's going to fire you up again. And we really want to have a call to action. Like, this conference is the beginning, not the end of the journey, and leave on a really high note. We're really excited that Vicky Albee is going to be joining us with her film Beyond Measure, a really important film that we'll be showing in here in the theater. There's still a few more seats left. If you want to come, I would say, like, when you walk out of here, get on your smartphone and reserve a spot, because it's going to sell out. And we're really excited about that. And then finally, for the leaders, school leaders and system leaders, we're partnering with EdSurge to have a PBL EdTech meetup on Thursday to have a conversation with education technology innovators about the tools that they're creating to help facilitate PBL in schools and classrooms. So it's going to be some of the same and some new stuff. One of the things that the same, and what I love, last year was my first year at PBL World, is that I've got so excited because this is like PBL summer camp. You get together with folks who you don't know from all over the world, and you come together and you're going to be in groups, and you got a camp counselor called a BIE national faculty member. And that national faculty member is a passionate expert about PBL, and they're going to become your new best friend. And you're going to have 35 other best friends in your camp cohort. And just like camp, you're going to learn together, and you're going to have bonds with people who you most likely are going to stay in contact with, at least right after you leave, and possibly maybe for the rest of your career. And I also expect to see lots of tears and hugs and promises to be Facebook friends when you leave. So welcome to PBL Summer Camp. Yee! We want to thank Patrick Sweeney, who's the superintendent of Nevada Unified School District, and all of the Napa Valley Unified School District. And the staff have just been amazing, this wonderful facility. The only way that we can go from 400 to 800 was by having a facility like this. And it's just state-of-the-art, and it's wonderful, and they've been great to work with. So thanks to the Napa School District. And Al Solis and Catherine, his right-hand person from BIE, have done an amazing job. You can imagine, like, pulling together 825 of your buddies and your friends to come learn about PBL is no small task. The logistics, all of the work is they've done it with a great enthusiasm and passion. So I wanted to thank Al and Catherine and all of the entire BIE staff for making this event occur. So as you leave to do your work today and through the week, I wanted to leave you with 3 things to think about. When we shared our vision, PBL for all, regardless of background or where you come from, we really want to think, how do we make sure that project-based learning is equitable, that all students have the opportunity, that we work to build our own capacity so that all students have accessibility, and that we hold the same level of expectations for all kids in the quality of their work, no matter where they come from in their life experiences. Project-based learning is a powerful learning tool, but it also takes commitment and coherence. Commitment from teachers and schools and districts to continue on the journey. You learn to be a better project-based teacher by doing project-based learning. But it also requires coherence and the conditions. So teachers and leaders need to work together to make sure that there's the structures and the policies and the processes that support deep learning through project-based learning. And finally, as I said, we believe project-based learning is transformational. That you think of yourself different after you've experienced high-quality project-based learning, especially when you do lots of them, and you see yourself differently in your own place in addressing the challenges of the world. So I'm going to leave you with an illustration of the power of project-based learning. How many 5th grade teachers are out there? Okay, you guys, you have an important work. I had a fifth grade teacher, Mr. Cooper. And so Mr. Cooper, it was about 40 years ago, but Mr. Cooper was my fifth grade teacher. And I'll never forget the day that I walked in his classroom or our classroom, and he had up on the board the poem by the song, but it was as a poem of "The Fool on the Hill" by the Beatles, and he was playing the song. And we came in and we analyzed that poem and song, and then he said, you're going to get to write your own poems and produce your own poetry book. So I've been telling this story for about a year now, and I was just with my mom, and she found my book. I had it. I knew I had it, but we were looking for it, so I have it. And so, oh my God, the memories come back to you. This was called Spring, Summer, Fall, and Winter, Poems by Bob Lenz. And I made this myself, and I had to use my best penmanship. And one of the things that I remembered, because I could see all the erasers marks, is so many times Mr. Cooper looking at it and saying, "Bob, is that your best work? Is that the best you can do?" And like most 10, 11-year-olds, I would get frustrated and erase it and start over. Until now, and I look and I showed this to my own kids who are 18 and 19, and they're like, "Boy, Dad, you had good penmanship in fifth grade." So I'm still proud of that 40 years later. And we also gave a public reading of our poetry. And I realized that this was the first time I did public speaking. And I was so nervous. And I wasn't the only fifth grader nervous. And we got dressed up, and we practiced. And Mr. Cooper was always there for us, pushing us even though we didn't want to do it. And then I did it. And the reaction from the parents and family that was there was, very polite and enthusiastic. And I got hooked. I mean, really, I am here today because 40 years ago, Mr. Cooper had me do a project where I was doing public speaking, and I liked it. And I kept doing it and building upon it. So you just don't know what one project, the difference it can make in someone's lives. And often, you don't get to find out. I don't get to tell Mr. Cooper he passed away before I got to this position of even being a teacher. But I can tell you, I think of him often, and he is still to this day an inspiration to me. So PBL for all, it's powerful, but it requires coherence and commitment. And remember, PBL is transformational. Have a great conference, learn a lot, get inspired, and thank you very much.